Welcome to Mondays with Mondane. The episode title for today is Building a Better Future for Veterans, and we're going to have a conversation with Steve Furnish. But again, I want to welcome you to this episode, and we delve into pivotal issues shaping lives and communities with a keen focus on amplifying marginalized voices. And I'm your host, Edie Mondane. Today, we're going to be diving into transformative initiatives reshaping the lives of homeless veterans. Joining us is Steve Furnish, Executive Director of Veterans 3, a community growth and services enterprise that helps veterans. Steve, it's an honor to have you with us, sir, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. It's an honor for me to be here, AD.
Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I was in the Air Force back in 77, telling my age.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was in at 77, too. I was in the Army.
Yeah.
The worst winter recorded in the United States history. I was at Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Oh, fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was in sunny Florida.
Okay. Tell us more about that.
I was in boot camp in San Antonio. Then we went to Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Experienced sandstorms for the first time in my life. That was interesting. Then I went down to Panama City in Florida, up on the handle, and did some tech school there. And then I spent the rest of my time at Castle Air Force Base in Merced, California, outside of Yosemite Park.
I was always assigned to an Air Force base because I was a radar specialist. So we had the Nike Herc systems at that time. But my training was done in El Paso, Texas. And there's a missile range. I can't remember the name of it right now. Darn it. But anyway, this was the first time in my life I had ever seen tumbleweeds.
Yeah.
Tumbleweeds as big as cars. Did you ever see those?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and jackrabbits. Did you see those?
Oh, yeah. We had those down in California.
My God, it scared me to death.
Yeah.
I had never seen a rabbit, and I was from the project, St. Louis, concrete, So jackrabbits that get this tall.
I never saw them that big.
Man, they were scared. I mean, when they spring up,
Yeah.
It looks like they're that tall in motion, but the big old ears, and I had never seen anything like that. I thought we were being invaded by something. I'm so glad that you're focusing on helping veterans. We know that Veterans 3 is dedicated to creating communities that provide homes and aid for homeless veterans. Could you expand on how your unique approach focuses on tiny gated homes in communities and it aids in their transition out of homelessness?
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that the homelessness is not just a thing, it's a way of life. And you kind of get into this frame of mind, and you can't just turn a switch and change it just because you're around inside four walls. You've got to really help somebody with their social health and their physical health, their mental health, their emotional health, all those areas, because it's a combination of all those things. And it's a matter of seeing things, the small things that prevent somebody from being transitioning out of homelessness. Our project is to not only put them in homes, but to have like a doctor's office on site where doctors can come in and volunteer so many hours a month to come in and take care of our residents.
Emulating the old communities where there used to be hands-on people in the community. Go and get Doc Sullivan.
Yeah, exactly. And then we want to have a veterinary clinic because veterans, one thing that helps them the most is having a pet, a companion. And that helps them with their PTSD, their anxiety, their depression, all those things. And I found that a lot of your communities, homeless communities that they're putting together, if you have a pet, you can't be there, or you have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And that's like getting rid of your child or your best friend.
Yeah.
And
I
so-
don't understand that because in the age that we live in, where pets are so important to people.
Well, I understand to a point because
Help us.
if you're in a community and you've got a pet and that pet starts running around, it could be an annoyance for somebody else. It could be a problem for their pet and things like that. So my solution to that is if somebody has a cat, we'll build them a catio and have that catio attached to their home, so their cat can still go outside, but have a way to get into the house. They roam freely back and forth, and they still have their pet, but their pet's not being confined to just inside of a home type of thing.
Do you think that, I mean, that's a big idea.
Yeah, I have a catio for my cats,
Ah,
and
okay.
it works out great.
Wow.
And we got raccoons, so it keeps my cats safe from predators, but at the same time they have that freedom to go in and out.
You know, speaking of raccoons and cats, I remember one night that a raccoon had trapped a dog under a car, and I'll never forget the harrowing sounds that were coming from that poor little
Yeah.
dog. I just, you know, I'm a non-animal person.
Yeah.
I have fish, and that's about as much as I can stand. Now, if I had dogs, I wouldn't mind them, but I need acreage. I want them
Yeah.
to be able to run because I ain't picking up nobody's poop.
Yeah. Well, see, that's another thing. If somebody has a dog, then we'll build a kennel that their dog can go from inside the house to the outside easily enough without having to run around. But we'll also have a dog park on the property as well,
That's a good idea.
so that the dogs can go there and they can socialize with each other, because dogs like to socialize.
You know, socialization and animals, etc. Safety and security measures are crucial.
Yeah.
In these kind of communities. Could you share more about how features like electronic gates and dedicated security personnel contribute to establishing a secure environment for those that are residents? And does it sound a little bit like a prison?
You know, it doesn't really, because you look at any gated community out there in the residential areas, there's gated communities out there all over the place, and people want that security. They like that security. They can go in and out. Ours is a little bit different.
Okay.
People will have to sign in and sign out, because you want to make. One reason is because some people become recluse, and if they're not signing in and out, they're staying in their house. It alerts us, because we'll have a caregiver, caseworker type person living on the property with them, that kind of just keeps an eye on everything and making sure that they're okay and things like that. But it alerts them that, hey, there might be something going on. So we go over and do a welfare check on them, make sure that they're okay, things like that. It also helps because there's a lot of things that happen in the homeless communities, and you end up having people in your life that you don't really want in your life anymore, because they would make it hard for you to be to get out of that transition, or to transition out of homelessness. So you want those influences that weren't as great. It gives us a chance to make sure that we're not allowing just anybody into the community.
How about cultural awareness? Is this going to be a multicultural community?
Oh, yeah.
How do you kind of make sure that that's, is it going to be an even blended community? What are your criteria around building that?
Well, we're not going to have any. Well, we have to have so many of this culture, so many of this ethnicity,
That's
or anything
difficult.
like that. We're not going to do that. I'm going to be working with other agencies like the VA, the caseworkers, the social workers up in the VA, other agencies that interact with veterans and the homeless and know who's who. And if somebody needs a home, we're going to put them in a home if we can.
So that's the culture in itself.
Yeah.
The Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine culture.
Exactly.
So a bandhood of brothers.
Yeah, and we don't care if they're LGBT. We don't care if they're trans. We don't care if they're white or black or Asian. We don't care about any of that because none of that matters.
They served our country.
They served our country.
None of that. It's kind of like don't ask, don't tell. Or
yeah, and we don't. Yeah, we don't want
you.
it. Yeah.
Listen, Veterans 3 offers an impressive array of services from medical facilities to job opportunities within the communities. How do these services contribute to the holistic journey of veterans towards stability and gives them a sense of power and empowerment?
Yeah. Well, it's like we're going to have security on the within the confines of the gated community. Mm-hmm. We want to try to employ the folks that live there, the residents, to be that security for themselves and each other. Help them to learn that sense of community again in a healthy, positive way. And there's so many small things. There won't be any vehicles allowed on the property other than scooters and like the little 4-wheel scooters that the VA provides for veterans.
And the wheelchair,
Yeah, the wheelchair.
A wheelchair accessible community, I'm sure.
And there'll be golf carts there and things like that. And the security can help them. Like if somebody goes out for groceries and they got a whole bunch of stuff and they can't haul it all at their house at the same time, then they can help them to haul their stuff to them.
What does the rec room look like?
It's going to be a large building, and the building is going to house the doctor's office, the veterinary clinic. There'll be some offices there for Social Security to come in and help people with their Social Security, VA service officers to come in and help them with their getting their disability and their pensions and things like that. We'll have a service for giving them or making their animals service animals, so they're certified service animal rather than just somebody saying it's a service animal. It gives them a little bit more pull when it comes to going on public transit and stuff like that. This is a service animal type of thing. There'll be a hair salon there because people want to look good. They want to feel good about themselves.
On-site barbers.
Yeah, and then it could be the people in the residents there that will find out that they're a hairdresser or they're a barber, and they could be the ones that are doing that work in there. The one site that we're looking at right now, it's 10 acres.
Wow.
And we have figured out ways to have income going on that'll help the community. Like we'll be able to put a food cart pod in there with up to 4 food carts and things like that. Right now, some of the property is being leased by UPS, and we can continue allowing it to be leased by UPS, and we'll get the income from that and things like that. So that we want to be sustainable and not have to keep coming to somebody else for money to keep us going.
So you have a community, you have acreage picked out where you could become self-sustainable from the beginning.
Yeah.
Boy, that's neat.
And we want to try and make that happen all the time. I do have aspirations of having a bingo hall at some point.
Bingo.
Yeah, people love bingo. And
they do.
And they love...
My mom and daddy, big bingo.
Same here. My parents are 87. They're celebrating 70 years of marriage, and they're playing bingo 3 days a week.
Wow. My mom and dad were 70 years in marriage, and they're both gone.
Yeah.
God bless their souls. I love them so much. Listen, building this community seems central to the mission of Veterans 3. Is that correct?
Yes.
How do community gatherings, meetings, and events play a role in fostering a sense of camaraderie and support amongst the residents? Are you going to have regular shows there or regular entertainment, or are you going to bring it, how do you see that?
Well, I think that the community center part, we'll have maybe some movies that they can watch. We'll have a gaming area where they can do gaming. The property we're looking at, unfortunately, they can't have kitchens in their domicile.
So you have a dining hall?
We'd have a dining hall and a central kitchen where they can come and eat there and things like that. The they don't even want restrooms in them. Mm-hmm. We're trying to get past that. We want to at least have toilets in them, even if they're combustible toilets or incendiary toilets.
Well, I think it's from what you're describing, it seems kind of like an Army base.
Yeah, it could be considered that.
Because we had a latrine house where we did our showering and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And in many ways, that's
more comforting to veterans than...
Yeah. My goodness. One of the key aspects of Veterans 3 is providing employment opportunities within that same community. How do these job opportunities empower the residents and aid in the transition to the more stable post-homelessness? And then how is it a vehicle to community sustainability?
Well, the nice thing about it is
outside of the
right, exactly, because Veterans 3 is the 3 values of our organization.
Talk about that.
Our first value is our value of our veterans. Our veterans are very valuable. They've done so much for this country, and for each one of us individually, for each other veterans, we've done so much for each other as well. So we value our veterans. We value our community, because our community is where we live, and what we went into the military for, what we went to wars for, it was for our community and for the people in our community. And then we value the combination of veterans and the community together.
Wow. And
what they represent and what we can do for them. We have so many veterans out there right now that are medal recipients, Medal of Honor recipients, Blue Cross recipients, that are sitting homeless and just rotting away. We lose 21 of our veterans every single day from suicide throughout this country. And it's a sad thing that that's happening. So I want to see this stop. I mean, it's not going to stop overnight. But I'm excited because, like, Senator Wyden's people have talked to me, and they've seen what our program looks like, and they're excited about it. They believe if we get this first project put together and how well it works, they believe it's something that they can implement throughout the United States, which is my ultimate goal.
So you want to be a model?
Yes.
Listen, how do we get in touch with you, man? Tell us.
I don't have a website right now. I've got a young man that's working on that. That's part of the funding we're trying to get so that we can get the website put together. Mm-hmm. And but right now, I'm kind of doing things by myself. I mean, we have the...
Well, how do we get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me. You can call me.
This is Steve Furnish, and this Steve, Steve Furnish,
yep.
And we're going to get in touch with you with area code
503-747-9924.
747-9924. You'll see it at the bottom of your screen, guys, but we also want you to hear it in case you're hearing impaired.
Yeah. And then you could contact us via email. My email is veterans3np for nonprofit @gmail.com. Or my personal email is steve@veterans3.us.
If you missed that, we're going to have it at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah.
Listen, Steve, this is an expensive adventure.
Yes, it is.
How much do you think this is going to cost you?
Well, we found pods that are, in fact, the city of Portland's been buying a lot of these pods from this gentleman that I met the other day. Mm-hmm. And we've done a lot of research in that. We've had different concepts here and there, but I think his homes that he's building, his tiny homes that he's building, is probably the best for us. And I don't know for sure how much those are. They're a little more than, they're less than $45,000, more than $15,000. Mm-hmm. So it's right in that area, and they're fully ready to go. People can move into them right away.
Now, this venture is just moving beyond its visionary stages at this point.
Yes.
So you're slow crawling into this. I'm excited for it.
I am really excited. Every time I get a little discouraged, all of a sudden something happens, and I got 2 or 3 people that come in. They get me all excited because they get excited because it's a really, really a great idea. It's a great way of doing it, and I think we can accomplish some major things. That we're not just putting a Band-Aid on something. Mm-hmm. We're actually helping them to heal and to be able to move on to something better at a later time. And granted, these folks, a lot of our homeless brothers and sisters, veteran brothers and sisters, have got a lot of issues. They got drug issues, alcohol issues.
Well, they're people.
And and those things we're not so concerned about, because those will start to get better as they become more stable and they're able to feel good about themselves.
I've said many times over that some of our greatest power is on the sidewalk in those tents.
Yeah.
And many don't seem to understand that homelessness brings with it, as you stated before earlier in this podcast, issues with mental health. And PTSD becomes an issue, and all of those things that have driven them there. It's going to take a village of people like you who have a visionary heart and a wealth of givenness to make this happen. I want you to know, from one veteran to another, I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate that. Thank
you, Steve Furnish, for shedding light on the incredible work being done at Veterans 3. That wraps up today's episode of Mondays with Mondene. I want you to join us next week for more enlightening conversations. And remember, our veterans deserve our support and respect. Until next time, take care. Look, a big thank you to our listeners for joining us on this episode of Mondays with Mondene. We hope this discussion shed light on your challenges faced by our nation's finest and our best, our veterans. I'm one of them, and has inspired you to be a part of the solution. Stay tuned for more thoughtful, provoking episodes, and remember, change begins with awareness and action, and that's what I said. Good night, my people. See you next time, and until then, stay alert and understand that change starts with you. The inclusive community development is the only way to develop all at any community, but you must do your part by getting involved. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it with your what? Friends and who? Followers. Turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing from Mondays with Mondene. And be sure to allow us on Facebook, right there, and YouTube, it's over there. And we want to do some special shout-outs to our sponsors. A special shout-out to Post Shines, not just another restaurant, but an institution. It's located at 8139 North Denver, right here in Kenton, and you can expect the best soul food this side of the Willamette. We've got aunties and tanties daycare services. They'll take care of your kids, light up your lives with Adorn Electric. I'm grateful for their support of this podcast. You can visit me right here on Sunday mornings at Celebration Tabernacle, 8131 North Denver, right here in Portland, Oregon. A special thank you to our technical staff, Dion, Robin, Andy, and Paul. Not one of them is bigger than the other, and they all stand tall. These are the guys who make this podcast possible, and of course, we couldn't do it without you. God bless you. Hey, gang, I've got exciting news. I've just finished my memoirs, and writing them was, a roller coaster, but I'm glad that I did it for me and for you, and it's a way to get to know Edie Mondene just a little bit better. What you thought you knew, you didn't know. It's called From Maladies to Melodies, growing up in the South St. Louis projects, and what God has done in my life even to this day. I'm excited to share it with you. Please look for it coming real soon.
Hey, it's time for you to come to Post Shine. Check out that catfish sandwich. Oh my goodness, is that the shrimp po' boy? Man, look at that chocolate chip cake. Man, I need to get over to Post Shines at 8139 North Denver right now because this food looks delicious. or call if you'd like. 503-978-9000. And don't miss it. You'll be sorry.
In times gone past, we find ourselves making excuses so that people remind that, ooh, I've got to get home and tend to the brand new missus. I need some time alone. Can't just wait until I finish texting on my phone.